Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to the Packernet Podcast. I am your host and resident panelist, as always, Ryan Schlipp. Check us out online, packernet.com. Find me on Twitter, pack_data. All right, so here's what we're going to do. A little bit of a compromise on the will he, won't he thing. I want to see if we can speed run through the rest of the potential first-round picks today using primarily, exclusively, whatever, the Beast Draft Guide. We'll probably have to trim out some of the curriculars, but I'll try to hit on the major points. Get to know these guys at least a little bit. But I'm not entirely sure how many of these guys I want to touch on, but certainly the offensive line, which would include Ariante Ursuri, Josh Connerly, Josh Simmons, Kelvin Banks, Marcus Mbo, Jonah Sava, Donovan Jackson, Tyler Booker, and Gray Zabel. We probably should touch on linebacker. Feels unlikely, but, Jihad Campbell, Carson Schweschinger. After that, we need to do tight end. Elijah Arroyo, Mason Taylor, Colson Loveland. I will try to go in order of priority, make sure we get everything done. This will probably exclude safety, running back, quarterback. If there's time, we'll touch on those. I wouldn't really expect there to be time, and I think I'll be okay with not touching on those. I want to start with the most likely and kind of move back from there, and I think tackle, you could argue, would be the most likely. We know that the interior is more or less spoken for, and we know that the right tackle spot is spoken for. The one thing that is up for debate is left tackle Rasheed Walker. Real quick, I want to talk about Rasheed a little bit. But I just want to be correct when we talk about Rasheed Walker. Not overly critical, not overly praising. 6'6", 324. By the way, this is one of the best examples of me being sort of an anti-seventh rounder type, which, by the way, has taken an absolute beating the last couple of years between him and Valentine and whatnot. But Rasheed Walker was a guy that quote-unquote fell. And I say quote-unquote because you hear that all the time. They're usually seventh rounders. Anthony Johnson Jr. is an automatic starter and all this stuff, or a day one starter. But Rasheed was a guy that some people were talking about as a fourth-round pick, possibly even earlier than that. He ended up falling to the seventh, and there was a ton of hype about this guy can start, and I'm like, come on, let's be serious. Well, he has been our starting left tackle. He has only been a left tackle for 2 years. He's still very young. Very young might be an exaggeration, but he's still quite young. I think he's, 25 years old? He has played almost exclusively at left tackle, played one snap at left guard, and then 8 as a second tackle or whatever you want to call it, outside of the tackle. 2,104 snaps as the starting left tackle. He has, he's not a good run blocker. That is the number one and really the only complaint against Rasheed Walker. He had a 56 run blocking grade in his rookie year. It went down to a 53.5 in year 2. His pass blocking, however, is phenomenal. Again, that may be a bit of an exaggeration, but let's go through what it is. 75 pass blocking grade as a rookie or first-year starter. 80 PFF pass blocking grade in his second year. He went from giving up 6 sacks in his first year to 3 sacks his next year. And that has always been my contention as far as how it's going to be difficult to just find people that are going to be better than that. If you look at 2024 pass blocking tackles, Zach Tom had the 15th highest grade at an 81. Rasheed Walker was right behind him, ranking 18th with an 80.1. Rasheed Walker gave up 3 sacks. Zach Tom gave up 4. Now, Tom gave up significantly less overall pressures, 28 compared to 37. He also had less penalties and is a significantly better run blocker. He's one of the few extremely well-rounded offensive tackles. But the fact of the matter is we're talking about maybe 17 tackles, left and right, throughout the entire NFL that are potentially better pass blockers using the PFF pass blocking grade. Do you know how many of last year's rookies would have been a good replacement? 0. The number 1 offensive tackle via PFF's pass blocking grade was Joe Alt, who was gone long before the Packers ever could have picked. He had a 78 grade, which is not as good, and he gave up 6 sacks. 6. After that is Roger Rosengarten, 69 pass blocking grade, gave up 4 sacks, 36 total pressures, 69 pass blocking. So only one guy of the entire group. J.C. Latham, 67. Fuaga, who a lot of people wanted for the Packers, 62. DJ Glaze, 62. Amarius Mims, 61. Tyler Guyton, 60. Fashanu, 59. Matt Gonclaves, 57. Brandon Coleman, 56. Patrick Paul, 55. Blake Fisher, 46. If I didn't list a tackle's name, it means they didn't really play. They didn't even get to start. In fact, let's go through some of those, shall we? Let's see. Who did I talk about here? Mike Jarrell. He had a 46 grade and only played in 6 games. Kingsley Suamataya played in 10 games, but obviously was just a backup because he had almost no snaps and had a 37 grade. Caden Wallace, 44 grade, played in 6 games. Karan Amagaji for the Chicago Bears, 40 grade, played in 5 games. Remember Troy Fatanu? I'm skipping a few here. Troy Fatanu played in 1 game the entire year. I mean, Frank Crum played in not even 2 games. He stepped in for a couple snaps, 8 snaps. Ethan Driscoll played 4 snaps. And again, there's a lot of tackles that are not even on here because they played exactly 0. So, again, I'm not saying that you'll never be able to find somebody better. I'm saying that it's actually extremely difficult. What if we went back the last 2 years? The last 2 years, how many players were better than Rasheed Walker? The answer is 0. Paris Johnson, 78.1. Joe Alt, 78.1. Darnell Wright, 75.4. In 2 entire draft classes, including undrafted free agents, every single tackle, every single one, not one of them has performed better as a pass blocker via this specific metric than Rasheed Walker. It's not to say that some of these guys can't become better or anything like that. I just want you to understand my objection. My objection, very specifically, is that it's the odds of us getting somebody worse as a pass blocker than Rasheed Walker are exceptionally high compared to the odds of us finding somebody better. Now, with that said, you could argue Darnell Wright, Joe Alt, and Paris Johnson are better options because they're all better run blockers. I think the problem is Darnell Wright went 10 overall, Joe Alt went 5 overall, Paris Johnson went 6 overall. So none of them were ever going to be available. So if you look at all the tackles over all these years that could possibly have been available for the Green Bay Packers, the guys that, let's say, fall to 15, 20, 25, how many of those guys, or 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th round guys, how many of those guys are better than Rasheed Walker? The answer, in my opinion, is 0. If you go back the last 3 whole draft classes, there are only 4 tackles that have higher grades. All of them are better run blockers, which, again, I get it. 4 tackles become better than Rasheed Walker. One of them is Charles Cross. He went number 9 overall, so he's off the list. One of them is Zach Tom, which is hilarious. If you look at the last 3 years of drafting tackles, 2 of the top 5 are Green Bay Packers. One of them was drafted in the 4th round. One of them was drafted in the 7th round. The other 2 are Bernard Raymond, who is a 3rd round pick, and Braxton Jones, who is a 5th round pick, who, by the way, is exactly what I'm talking about with the Chicago Bears, who has been a really solid left tackle that the Bears are constantly trying to replace, and I don't understand why. Or maybe they're not and the fans are. I don't know. Maybe they're just having the same situation we are. But think about that. There's like, what did I just say? One third-round pick and one fifth-round pick? And that's it? Aside from Zach Tom, who the Packers did find? Look, how about this? Wait until the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th round and see if you can get lucky, or not lucky, see if you can just do it again. I don't want to use a first-round pick on a tackle to try to replace Rasheed Walker. I mean, heck, maybe Jordan Morgan can do it. All right? Let's give Morgan a shot, a real legitimate shot this year. I don't know. But if we went back and looked at the percentage of tackles that were drafted, how many tackles went in the first round in the 20s? And where are they today? How about Trevor Penning? Remember Trevor Penning? He went number 19 overall. He has a 51 pass blocking grade this past year. It's his first year starting, by the way, in year 3. And he had a 51 pass blocking grade. His pass blocking grades were 38, 61, and 51. That was a number 19 overall tackle. Tyler Smith has been good, but he's a guard. He's not a tackle. Y'all remember Anton Harrison? Because I don't. He went 27th to the Jacksonville Jaguars in 2023. His pass blocking grades have been 61 and 66. He's given up 9 sacks in his last 2 years. And he's a terrible run blocker. We already talked about the 2024 guys and how none of those really panned out, right? Fashanu, Fuaga, Mims, Fatanu, Tyler Guyton. Any of these guys killing it at tackle? Just throwing it out there. I'm just saying, if you just hate Rasheed Walker so much because you're either confused about how good of a pass blocker he is or because you're just determined to find a better run blocker, understand there has to be like a 90% chance he's going to be worse than Rasheed Walker. There just has to be. Just based on historic data. I made that number up, but I'm feeling pretty good that I didn't massively overstate that. All right. Let's just take one early break, and then we'll start rocking and rolling here with the tackles. Got a little ranty there. Take a break. We'll be right back. Ariante Ursuri, again, I forget the R in Ursuri, the second R, is a 6'6", 331-pound tackle out of Minnesota. He is 23 years old, so he's a little bit up on the older side. 3-year starter at Minnesota. Left tackle in Greg Harbaugh's zone-heavy scheme. No idea if there's relation, but maybe. I'm going to go through all the strengths and weaknesses and not just pick out some of the like off-field type stuff, just because I'm not giving my opinions. Imposing size, broad shoulders, long arms, upper body strength, quick out of his stance. His coaches praise the jump he made during his college career. Grew into a team leader according to NFL scouts and started 38 straight games at left tackle to finish his career. Some weaknesses: he's a little upright, hands are often wide and inaccurate when striking. Couple false steps at time, can do better continuing to work his hips. Anchor can be diminished, comes off the ball high. Didn't miss any starts because of injury the past 3 seasons, but did sit out most of the regular season finale with a right ankle sprain. Almost all of his career snaps have come at left tackle, so you don't have that sort of versatility. Ariante Ursuri, or Tay Ursuri, one of 6 kids from Kansas City, Missouri. First love was basketball, initially played pickup games, later organized. Mainly grew up watching the Kansas City Chiefs as a football fan, but didn't play organized sports early on. Hit his growth spurt after freshman year of high school. His uncle Bill started pushing him to join the football team. He finally did in his sophomore year. He was 240 pounds, started out as a defensive end, but the coaches needed him on the offensive line. He was a quick study at both tackle spots and bulked up to 265 pounds. That's so big to be. I mean, did he do that all his sophomore year, 25 pounds? To stay in shape in the offseason, he joined the wrestling team as a sophomore in the 285-pound class. As a junior, Ursuri joined the track team and placed 4th in the 2019 Class 4 state championships in the shot put. He was a 3-star recruit, 80th ranked offensive tackle in the 2020 recruiting class, number 18 recruit in Missouri. Started attending recruiting camps after his sophomore and junior seasons. First offer from FCS Northern Iowa in 2019. Recruitment ramped up after he showed out at a satellite camp in Linwood University. Within a week of the camp, he picked up over a dozen offers, including from Kansas, Kansas State, and Minnesota. A week later, he took a visit to Minneapolis, committed to head coach P.J. Fleck. Ursuri was a 17th ranked recruit in the Gophers 20 class. He earned academic all Big Ten honors and graduated with a degree May of 2024. Opted out of the bowl game, accepted his invitation to the Senior Bowl. All right. Well, I mean, just first impressions based on all of this. I mean, he is a pure left tackle. He's a big, massive dude. He kind of feels like a right tackle to me, just the way that he's described, kind of, big and strong, maybe a little bit stiff and upright. Taking a quick gander at his PFF stuff, he spent 5 years there. His last 3, he was a starter. His first year as a starter, he was pretty bad, and then his second year, he exploded. 84 grade, 86 run blocking, 71 pass blocking. Year 2, his grades went down, although pass blocking got better. 77, 74 run blocking, 77 pass blocking. Only gave up 1 sack, 1 hit, 10 hurries. He gave up 5 sacks over his 3 years as a starter. Next up, we got Josh Connerly. He is actually, he's number 4 on this big board. He is listed as a first to second round, so Ursuri, according to the Beast Guide, they put him in the solid second round camp. Connerly and Simmons are first, second round. Membo and Campbell first round, not surprisingly. He is 6'4 and a half, 3'11", 505 40, 10 and 3/8 hands, 34 and a quarter arms, 81 and a half wing, and 21.47 years old, so he's a young dude. In fact, most of these guys are pretty young with the exception of Ursuri. Connerly over at PFF, getting better as a run blocker, very good pass blocker. Again, this is college. All of these guys that bust out in the NFL that we've been talking about, most of them had very good grades just like this, so don't start getting all geeked out about stuff. But 73 run blocking, 84 pass blocking, gave up 1 sack, 2 hits, 6 hurries, 9 total pressures, 99 pass blocking efficiency. All right, 2-year starter at Oregon, left tackle position in Will Stein's multiple run scheme with a lot of unbalanced looks. After transitioning to offensive line as a high school sophomore, he made steady improvements each season. He played his best ball over his second half of his final year in Eugene. Quick, fluid mover, Connerly has a range to reach his landmarks laterally in pass protection and on the move at the second level. Because of the undeveloped parts of his game, he'll put himself in some compromising positions, especially against power rushes. But his recovery balance is exceptional. Overall, Connerly must continue refining his hands and core strength, but he has the right trajectory and enters the NFL with a promising foundation based on athletic movements and body control. Currently a bend-don't-break blocker, has the talent to become a solid starter. Plays with both raw strength and aggressive play style. Allowed only 6 pressures over his final 12 starts, all coming versus Ohio State. That's pretty crazy. Durable, finished career with 28 straight starts. Core strength must be addressed and developed. Hands all over the place. Bull rushers rock him on his heels. Only played left tackle in college. Josh Connerly, raised in the Seattle area by his parents, started playing football in elementary school and developed a love for the running back position. Played multiple positions on both sides of the ball, but always saw himself as a big running back who could run over or past everyone. Also played basketball. Started training with Ford Sports Performance and helped to grow the program, win back-to-back championships for the basketball team. Went to Rainier Beach High School in Seattle, 4-year varsity letterman, running back, tight end, defensive end as a freshman. Going into his sophomore year, though, the team lost almost its entire offensive line. Connerly knew a move to the trenches was his best long-term move. Won the starting left tackle job 2019 season. Got all-league honors as a junior. Had COVID. As a senior, he helped get them to the 2021 3A state playoffs. He earned first-team All-State honors. Also took some snaps on the defensive line. Earned an invitation to the 2022 All-American Bowl and received Anthony Munoz Lineman of the Year award. He also lettered in basketball at Rainier Beach. 5-star recruit, Connerly was a second-ranked offensive tackle in the 22 recruiting class, just ahead of Kelvin Banks and Will Campbell. Number 1 recruit in Washington, he was ranked as the number 16 recruit nationally, 1 spot behind cornerback Will Johnson. A month into his sophomore season, after making the transition to left tackle, Connerly received his first offer from Tennessee, followed by offers from Nevada and Oregon a few days later. Over the next years, he collected more than 30 scholarship offers, including from national powers all over the country. Boy, oh boy, got a bunch. Top 6 were Miami, Michigan, Oklahoma, Oregon, USC, and Washington. Despite growing up as a Huskies fan, he wanted to leave Seattle for college and ultimately picked Oregon over USC. Head coach Dan Lanning had only been on the job for 2 months at that point, but he was able to sell Connerly on the Ducks. Connerly was the top-ranked recruit in Lanning's first class. After 3 seasons in Eugene, Connerly elected to skip his senior season, enter the NFL draft. He accepted his invitation to the Senior Bowl and was voted the top offensive lineman in the national team during the week of practice. All right, number 3, Josh Simmons out of Ohio State, another first to second round guy, 6'4.5", 317, didn't participate in the 40 and whatnot. He's got big hands, long arms, 22.3 years old. Looks like he missed the second half of the season, but was very good as a pass blocker the first half. Really not a ton to go on. His first year was San Diego State, didn't grade out very well. Went to Ohio State, was okay. 66 run blocking, 72 pass blocking. Year 3, he got off to a really good start. 69 run blocking, 82 pass blocking, but again, pretty short season. Looks like he played 5.5 games. He probably got hurt in that Oregon game. I'm sure we'll find out. 2-year starter at Ohio State, Simmons lined up at left tackle, and former offensive coordinator Chip Kelly's diverse run game, gap zone, pin, pull, counters, etc. After 2 seasons at San Diego State, he transferred to Columbus and blossomed while moving from right tackle to left tackle the past 2 seasons. Simmons was on pace over his first 5 years for a 2024 season to be an All-American and looked like a strong contender for OT1 in the draft class, but he suffered a non-contact knee injury in mid-October, which sidelined him for the rest of the season. Simmons explodes out of his stance in pass protection, plays with knee bend, balance, and calmness to govern his movement, shoots his hands, stays square to the pass rusher. He isn't an overpowering mauler in the run game, but Kelly's offense highlighted Simmons' range when executing pulls, reaches, traps, etc. Overall, Simmons is a nimble, coordinated pass protector with tremendous athletic poise and body control to be a long-term starting left tackle in the NFL. His pro projection hinges on his medical feedback. He's penalized just once in 6 starts in 2024 and has experience at both left and right tackle. Not a true people mover once he latches, and then had the non-contact patella injury in his left knee October 2024, which required season-ending surgery. Josh Simmons, born and raised in San Diego with his mother, Anna Maafala, his father, Nelson. A switch-hitting outfielder, was a second-round pick in the 1981 MLB draft and was called up to the show for parts of 3 seasons with the Detroit Tigers from 84 and 85 and Baltimore Orioles 87. His uncle, Chris Faumatu Maafala, played fullback at Utah and was drafted in the 6th round in 1998 draft. Number 178 overall, then played 7 seasons in the NFL for the Pittsburgh Steelers and Jacksonville Jaguars. Josh's half-brother Goldie played baseball at San Diego State, was selected in both the 2006 and 2007 NFL or MLB draft. He was a Chicago White Sox director of strength conditioning 21 to 24 before being hired as head strength and conditioning coach for the Phoenix Suns in 2024. It's pretty wild stuff. Simmons started his prep career at James Madison High in San Diego. He was a multi-sport standout. After playing on the freshman football team his first year, he moved up to varsity as a sophomore, played both ways at left guard and defensive tackle at 325 pounds. Simmons again lined up at left guard, one start at offensive tackle, defensive tackle as a junior, but slimmed down to 290 and helped to lead Madison. Do you know how disappointing it is to sit here and be like, over the years, I've really trimmed down. And it's like, years, dude. My coaches told me I had to drop like 40 pounds in an off season, and then I did it. So I don't know what your freaking problem is. He transferred his senior season to Helix Charter High School in La Mesa, California, where he was teammates with several FBS recruits, including quarterback Tyler Buckner. However, Helix's 2024, COVID, we know. 4-star recruit, Simmons was the 25th ranked interior offensive lineman, 21 recruiting class, number 30 recruit in California, primarily offensive guard, defensive tackle in high school. He was recruited to play offense by some programs and to play defense by others. After his sophomore season, Simmons attempted multiple camps, pulled in his first offers from San Diego State, Utah State. He camped with USC and UCLA in the summer of 2019, received offers from both schools. His dream school, Oregon, offered him in Christmas Eve 2019, and he committed to former head coach Mario Cristobal a month later. However, Simmons reopened his recruitment in 2020 as offers poured in, including Georgia, Miami, Michigan, Oklahoma, Penn State, and dozens of others. That dream school's great until people start throwing checks at you, you know what I mean? He did say, though, because of the pandemic, he wasn't ready to commit to schools without taking visits and feeling the energy. He committed to nearby San Diego State, a school he was able to visit. That decision also allowed him to stay close to home so he could help care for his grandmother. See, you go talking trash about the paychecks, and then he stays home to be close to his grandmother. Okay. Sometimes you just got to shut up, you know what I mean? And then he transferred, et cetera, et cetera. All right, final tackle I want to look at is Kelvin Banks, another guy that is unlikely to fall. But things can happen. And in fact, I just had, this is kind of what prompted me to be like, all right, we have to do this. Just had my guy Rev Trev over on X reach out, and his question specifically was, if Kelvin Banks falls, do you pull the trigger? And I didn't have an answer, and I thought that was pretty unacceptable. So I'm still going to have to go watch these guys a little later. I don't want to have to do that today because it's going to take too long, and I want to get through this. But still, we got to do it. Interestingly, and I've never seen this before, he lists Kelvin Banks as a guard and behind Tyler Booker. So that's different. That's very different. Kelvin Banks, he lists him as a first to second round prospect, so the question is becoming a real thing here. 6'5", 315, 5'1", 640. Not super fast, but better than Tyler Booker, that's for sure. He's got 33.5-inch arms, so I can't imagine that would be the issue. Usually guys get lazily thrown in the guard category if they got like 32-inch arms or some horrific thing like that. But no, 33.5, 21.12 years old. Kelvin Banks, really solid grades. He has played only left tackle. Always been a good pass blocker. 78, then 87, then 90 were his pass blocking grades his 3 years at Texas. His run blocking went from 65 to 68 to 81. So 3 years at Texas, all 3 years starting. I don't see any missed time. All 3 years, I mean, every snap at tackle. And extremely dominant. 4 sacks given up in 3 full years. I mean, you know. 3-year starter at Texas, Banks was a fixture at left tackle in head coach Steve Sarkisian's multiple run scheme, RPO wide zone offense. Despite not moving to offensive line until high school, he looks like he'd been playing there his entire life. It wasn't a coincidence the Longhorns' rise mirrored Banks' tenure. I think you get what that was supposed to sound like. I read that wrong. I keep doing that. Texas's wins increased each of his 3 seasons in the program as he continued to get better. With well-timed feet and handwork, Banks is a natural in pass protection and shows an instinctive feel to attack with leverage and create force through his body mechanics. His balance can be too easily disrupted, though, especially in the run game, which can leave him overextended or on the ground. Overall, Banks doesn't have ideal length, liar, and needs to improve his sustained tactics to be a consistent finisher against NFL talent, but he has controlled footwork and depth in his pass sets, plus the fundamental know-how to fit and leverage. It's not good that I'm already not able to read. We're just getting started. I have to get up and walk around a little bit. I'm getting the fog here. He projects as an immediate NFL starter who can stay at tackle, although his best long-term position might be at guard. Yeah, it might be, or it might not be. I don't know. You never know. It's probably like Morgan. He will go to guard, and he's going to be a very good guard, but it's just weird. Athletic puller with body control to pace and pick off space defenders. He's durable, missed only 1 start at left tackle over the past 6 seasons, dating back to sophomore year of high school. So not even in college. Humble team captain who is all business. Head coach Steve Sarkisian said, "Whenever somebody comes to me and asks, Coach, what do I need to do and how do I need to do it? I say, be like Kelvin." That's pretty high praise. Weaknesses. Immediately says, lacks desired arm length. Bro, do you understand how many tackles have 33 to 33.5-inch arms that we just talked about? I mean, give me a frickin' break with this. Spends too much time on the ground, falling off drive blocks in the run game, lacks overpowering strength. Flagged 7 times in 2024, 4 holding calls, 3 first starts. All of college snaps came at left tackle. Any position change would be a projection. Left ankle sprain versus Texas A&M and missed 2024 SEC championship game versus Georgia. Okay, well. Kelvin Banks, who has one brother, Jalen, was raised northwest of Houston by his parents, Kelvin and Monica. Kelvin Sr. was an offensive lineman at Aldine High and signed with the Houston before playing at Coffeyville Community College, Midwestern State, and then in the Arena Leagues. Monica has epilepsy and has undergone multiple surgeries over the past few years. In October 2022, she collapsed in the parking lot of after Texas's game against Oklahoma State, and doctors subsequently found a blood clot in her heart. She slipped into a oh my lord. Sometimes you're just not prepared for these stories here. She slipped into a coma and required a 2-month hospital stay in Oklahoma. Restricted to a wheelchair and unable to speak, she spent time in hospice. In July 2024, Monica underwent life-saving surgery to remove her gallbladder. And that's how it ends. You're just going to leave me with that? Is she okay? What's going on? Kelvin, also a devoted fisherman, grew up playing different sports, including football, starting at age 4, throughout youth football in Humboldt, Texas. He played quarterback, running back, and tight end, leading his team to back-to-back league titles. Given his size, he knew a move to offensive line was likely in his future, but he stayed at skill positions throughout middle school. Banks enrolled at Summer Creek High, moved to the offensive line, and was talented enough to start. However, he was ineligible as a freshman because he transferred between districts, so he served on scout team player for the varsity team. He became a starting left tackle as a sophomore, earned all-district honors in 2019-2020. After Summer Creek had back-to-back losing seasons, Banks, as a senior in 2021, helped the program to a 10-4 finish and birth of a 6A state champion playoff quarterfinals. Banks was named All-American by multiple outlets and 21 Offensive Player of the Year in the district, selected for 22 Under Armour All-American game. He started 34 straight games at left tackle over 3 varsity seasons. 5-star recruit, Banks was a third-ranked offensive tackle in the 22 recruiting class, number 8 recruit in Texas, one of 8 5-star recruits in the state. 33rd ranked recruit nationally, despite being ineligible as a high school freshman. Banks impressed in camps and drew offers from Arizona State, Florida State, Houston, Oklahoma State, and Utah before he took a varsity snap. Shortly into his sophomore season, Auburn, LSU, Texas, and several others joined in the mix. Midway through that year, Banks committed to head coach Mike Gundy of Oklahoma State before decommitting 9 months later in July 2020. After reopening his recruitment, he narrowed down his list to LSU, Oklahoma State, Oregon, Texas, and Texas A&M. Banks committed to Oregon July 2021, was planning to play there until Mario Cristobal left Miami head coaching job in December. Banks decommitted from the Ducks, signed with Texas, the school he'd followed throughout childhood. Banks said, "My heart felt at home there." He was one of 2 5-star commits in Steve Sarkisian's 22 class, the other being offensive lineman DJ Campbell. After 3 seasons, Banks elected to skip his senior season and enter the NFL draft. All right, why don't we take a break? We've got some interior offensive linemen and tight ends to do. We'll see if we can get her done. We'll take a break. We'll be right back. I'll tell you what, I'm going to skip Mr. Marcus Mbow. First of all, he is on the consensus board just at or outside the second round, and he's listed here as the number 6 interior offensive lineman, one spot behind Miles Frazier, both of whom have third-round grades, so I'm just going to skip that one. And we'll start with, here we go, Jonah Sava. Jonah Sava. Got it. Okay. Won't remember it, but for now, I got it. Interior offensive lineman out of Arizona, 82.7 pass blocking grade, 64 run blocking. He is Rasheed Walker in college. I mean, maybe a slightly better run blocker, 50s and 60s, and then 70s and 80s as a pass blocker. 6'4", 324 pounds. He is, one of the biggest interior guys. I'm trying to find somebody bigger here. I'm scrolling and scrolling. Here we go. You got to go all the way down to the 26th ranked guy out of Nebraska, Micah Mazuka, 331. So he's a big old boy. 3-year starter at Arizona, Savanaia was an interchangeable tackle in former offensive coordinator Dino Babers' pass-heavy spread scheme. Primarily a guard in high school, he's a freshman All-American guard for the Wildcats before being pushed to tackle the past 2 seasons. Split his time almost evenly between right tackle and left tackle in 24, but he didn't complain about shuffling. He said, "Where my coaches want me, I play there, whatever the team needs." Physically imposing blocker, Savanaia is both alert and powerful, with the competitive demeanor to complete the mission. Though he is a solid athlete, he will struggle versus two-way go rushers and too easily turn his hips and lose position in space, opening a path to the quarterback. Overall, Savanaia has the length and functional movements to stay at tackle, but his square play style projects best inside at guard, where he can use his bear claws to control a man in front of him. Bro, bear claws is a little bit close to bear paws, which I admit is although slightly more incorrect than bear claws. I'm just saying a lawsuit is right around the corner if you keep screwing with me, okay? Just saying. Bear paws, TM. He should compete for starting reps as early as his rookie season. Massive frame, well-proportioned thickness, long arms, plays balanced in pass sets, square and mirror, large physical hands to snatch and stun at contact. Flagged only once in 2024, holding against Kansas State. Didn't start lifting weights until high school and has learned how to take care of his body. NFL scouts say his swagger helped maintain Arizona's culture after Jed Fish left following the 2023 season. Started 36 straight games spread across 3 positions. Upright with inconsistent knee bend, needs to become more consistent replacing hands as a pass blocker, a little stiff, struggles to recover, inconsistent hip roll, falls off too many second-level blocks, needs to keep his feet under him. Jonah Sava, the second oldest of 4 children, 3 boys, 1 girl, was born and raised in American Samoa with his parents. Samoans, man, I'm telling you. These guys can be 330 pounds and just fly. It's just, I don't know, something about that DNA, man. Grew up singing in church, playing multiple instruments, including piano and guitar. Sava didn't play football until 7th grade, when his friends convinced him to join the team. It wasn't love at first sight, but given his size and athleticism, football quickly became his main activity. He convinced his parents to let him attend high school on the mainland in Hawaii to get more looks from college football programs. His brother Julian, who is 1 year younger, also made the move and is now a rising redshirt sophomore defensive lineman at Arizona. Let me check that guy out real quick. For sure, he is the highest graded defensive player on the team. Julian Sava, defensive tackle, only played in 7 games, 80 PFF grade, 85 run defense. His pass rush is a little lacking, although 2 pressures on 20 attempts and a sack is really not that terrible. So, his first year, they only let him play in 7 games, put him in a couple snaps here and there, and he was the highest graded player on the team. So, keep an eye out for that guy in a couple years. Moved to Hawaii in 2017, enrolled at St. Louis High, Catholic all-boys school in Honolulu, produced numerous NFL players, including Tua Tagovailoa, Marcus Mariota, Olin Kreutz. After starting left guard as a freshman, he moved over to right guard as a 365-pound sophomore and helped lead St. Louis to a 12-1 record. My goodness. School's 4th straight title that led teams included future FBS players such as quarterback Jaden DeLaura and linebacker Nick Herbig. Senior season, he was a right guard at 345 and earned All-State honors in 21. Also played for a club team called the Trench Dogs. 3-star recruit, Sava was the 27th ranked interior offensive lineman in the 22 recruiting class and the number 3 recruit in Hawaii. After his sophomore season, he received his first scholarship offer from Hawaii, followed by offers from UNLV and Arizona State, with Hawaii native and NFL Hall of Famer Kevin Mawe coaching the offensive line. For head coach Herm Edwards' Arizona staff, and Sun Devils were an early favorite. Mawe left Arizona State after the 2020 season, and Arizona ramped up this recruitment of Sava in spring 2021. After taking a visit to Tucson and connecting with former offensive line coach Brennan Carroll, Sava committed to the Wildcats in 21. It helped that Arizona also offered his younger brother. He was the 8th-ranked recruit in former head coach Jed Fish's 22 class. Wide receiver Teteroa McMillan was number 1. Sava was recruited as a guard, but he played the majority of his career at Arizona and at tackle. Elected to forego his final season and enter the NFL draft, he accepted an invite to the Senior Bowl. All right, Donovan Jackson, listed as a tackle on the Beast Guide. Donovan Jackson, 70 pass blocking grade, 70 run blocking grade his final year here. Been pretty consistently okay for 4 years at Ohio State, kind of very up and down. Pass blocking, 86, 61, 73, 69. Run blocking, 65, 80, 67, 70. So I don't... Dude just has some emotional swings or something. I don't know. But 6'4", 317, 4th-year senior, 22.39 years old, 3-year starter at Ohio State. Jackson played both left tackle and left guard, and former offensive coordinator Chip Kelly's diverse run game, gap zone, pin, pulls, counters, etc. Highly recruited out of Texas, didn't ascend to meet some of his sky-high expectations at left guard, but he was the unsung hero of the Buckeyes' 24 national championship run after kicking out to left tackle to replace Josh Simmons for the final 9 games. Following a rough start against Abdul Carter and in Penn State, he played a high level the rest of the way, including an impeccable playoff run. Long considered an interior prospect by NFL teams, his left tackle tape was better than what he showed at left guard, forcing NFL teams to reevaluate his best positional fit. Though not an overpowering drive blocker, Jackson moves well out of his stance with the flexibility, length, strength combination to latch and occupy defenders with his hands. His processing gradually improved each season, and he didn't look like a fish out of water in space. Overall, Jackson's sustained and recovery hiccups must be addressed by an NFL coaching staff, but his athletic traits and play strength should translate well to the next level. He projects as an NFL starter, and his tape shows a player with true tackle guard versatility. Only 2 penalties over his final 28 games. Has played a lot of football, 53 career games, graduated with 3.85 GPA, which is the highest on the team. His work during his 3 weeks shows on field. Texas's Barron Sorrell called Jackson the toughest tackle he faced in 2024 because of his preparation. Selfless, willingly returned to high school roots and played left tackle when injuries hit Ohio State. Chip Kelly said it's a credit to the type of person Donnie is, one of the true leaders of our team. He did sit out the first 2 games of 2024 after injuring his hamstring. Donovan Jackson, who has an older sister, Rachel, was born and raised in the Houston area. A lot of Houston kids, man. Parents Todd and Melanie met in the 90s. Melanie's a retired elementary school teacher, originally from Cincinnati. Todd, who is a high school offensive and defensive lineman at Westlake High in Cleveland, has worked in oil and gas fields for 30 years. Currently serves as Director of Business Operations at Motiva Enterprises. Todd's father, Wilson, was a college referee in various leagues, including the Big Ten in the 80s and 90s. Donovan started playing football at age 6 in flag league. Once he joined tackle football at 8, he lined up at offensive line in his Pee-wee teams and started playing on select clubs that traveled all over Texas. Jackson started working with offensive line trainer Jonathan Young in middle school and helped lead his team to division titles in 7th and 8th grade. Began his prep career at Houston Christian High private school, started at left tackle as a freshman, didn't allow a sack in 2017. Before his sophomore year, Jackson transferred to Episcopal High, a prestigious private school in Bel Air, Texas, that has produced NFL players such as wide receiver Jalen Waddle and offensive tackle Walker Little. Started at left tackle as a sophomore and was named first-team All-Conference. As a junior, Jackson helped Episcopal to a 9-1 record in the 2019 conference title. Senior season was cut short because of COVID. But he started all 6 games at left tackle. He was named the USA Today and U.S. Army All-American and took home the Anthony Munoz Lineman of the Year honors in 2020. He also participated in the AAU Junior Olympics in discus and shot put, winning multiple conference and area championships. He had personal bests in Episcopal of 54 feet 6 inches in the shot put and a school record 177-1 in the discus. Jackson played in the marching band for 3 years and is a talented singer. 5-star recruit, Jackson was a top interior offensive lineman in the 21 recruiting class and the number 4 in Texas, behind Quinn Ewers, Tommy Brockenmeyer, and Jatavian Sanders. He was ranked as the number 19 recruit nationally. Started taking college visits as early as 8th grade and picked up his first 2 offers, Memphis and Ohio State, the summer before high school. Already a top recruit, he received more attention. How do you not just accept that? I mean, can the schools pull it? I'd be worried, like if my kid was in 8th grade and got an offer from Ohio State to play football, I'd be like, bro, you're taking that. I don't care. You're taking it. Maybe they can pull it. I don't know. But if you go to high school and it turns out you're not as good as people think, well, guess what? You accepted a friggin' scholarship to Ohio State. So there you go. Jackson had a final top 12 of Alabama, Georgia, LSU, Michigan, Northwestern, Notre Dame, Ohio State, Oklahoma, Stanford, Tennessee, Texas A&M, Texas. Because of his family ties to Ohio, he officially committed to Ohio State after his junior season, was a 4th-ranked recruit in head coach Ryan Day's 21 class behind Ewers, Tua Malau, and Jack Sawyer. Jackson twice earned academic All-Big Ten honors and graduated with a degree in sports industry. Jackson declined his invitation to the Senior Bowl because of Ohio State's deep playoff run. All right, Tyler Booker, guard at Alabama, 87 pass blocking, 64 run blocking, so he's one of those. He is the number 1 interior guy on, well, I shouldn't say that. He's the number 1 guard on the Beast Guide. He's still listed as a first to second round grade, 6'4.5", 321, 5'3", 840, 21.03 years old. 2-year starter at Alabama. Booker primarily lined up at left guard and head coach Kalen DeBoer's run-heavy RPO-based scheme. After an inconsistent yet promising first 2 years at Tuscaloosa, he had an All-American junior season as a critical team leader and made the key improvements NFL scouts were hoping to see. In pass protection, you want your guards creating the depth of the pocket by answering and anchoring, which Booker does at a high level. In the run game, you want your guards driving and creating room with the intent of dominating their man, which Booker also does consistently. The next step for him is to continue developing his savviness to counter reach, high-end athleticism, and blitzes that cross his face. Overall, Booker is built like a bull, with the play strength and finishing mentality to match. His average foot quickness, however, might not be ideal for every scheme. He projects as an immediate starting guard with the tools and competitive character that are easy to bet on. Describes play style as quote-unquote legal assault. I think I might have seen that before, and I freaking love it. Booker said, I make guys not... Oh, I remember that. It was the press conference. He says, I make guys not love football anymore. I do like this guy, man. That's freaking awesome. Laser-focused, been on a mission to be in the NFL since grade school. Durable and works hard to stay conditioned, started 27 of his last 28 games at Alabama. Team captain who describes himself as a natural-born leader and gets most out of his teammates. NFL scouts said he keeps everyone accountable in that locker room. After Alabama's Vandy loss, Book was the guy who got everyone back on track. Committed 7 penalties in 2024, including 3 false starts. Saw late-game snaps at right guard as a freshman, but worked almost exclusively at left guard in college, trained at right guard and center during pre-draft workouts with O-line guru Duke Manyweather. Missed 1 game as a sophomore because of back spasms. Tyler Booker, middle of 3 kids, born and raised in New Haven, Connecticut with his parents, William and Tashana. He has an older sister, Jalen, and younger brother, Mason. Booker started playing football as a Mighty Mite at age 7 and suited up for the New Haven Steelers throughout Pop Warner. When Tyler was 9, his father, who put a plush football in Tyler's crib days after he was born, signed him up to work out with athletic trainer Frank Quito and breakout athlete. Booker attended St. Luke's for middle school and played on the undefeated 7th-8th grade team as a 5th grader. At age 11, he attended Nick Saban's football camp in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, and set his mind on making it to the NFL. Booker grew up in an athletic family, including his uncle Ulish Booker, who started at left tackle at Michigan State before a stint in NFL Europe. He then joined the Pittsburgh Steelers and won a ring in Super Bowl 40? Before deciding to focus on football, Tyler Booker was also an accomplished track athlete throughout childhood, medaling in shot put, discus, and javelin. Booker elected to attend high school at Bergen Catholic in Oradell, New Jersey, an all-boys Catholic school, a top-flight program. It was a 90-minute drive without traffic from New Haven, so Booker stayed with teammates, coaches, and friends during the week. He played on both the offensive and defensive lines. As a freshman on varsity in 2018, before his sophomore season, Booker transferred to IMG Academy in Bradenton, Florida, and joined a loaded roster, which include J.C. Latham, his future teammate at Alabama. After shining on defense as a freshman, Booker's focus shifted to offensive line, where he started at right tackle as a sophomore. As a junior captain, he helped IMG finish 8-0 and captured a 2020 national championship. Latham played left tackle, Booker played right tackle. Booker moved over to left tackle as a senior and again served as team captain. 4-star recruit, Booker was a 7th-ranked offensive tackle in the 22 recruiting class and the number 10 recruit in Florida, number 1 offensive lineman in the state. During his freshman year at Bergen Catholic, he picked up his first scholarship offer from nearby Rutgers. After he announced his transfer to IMG Academy, the offers started to pour in, including Florida State, Georgia, LSU, Miami, Oklahoma, USC, and others. He took visits to Florida, Georgia, and Ohio State, but ultimately decided Alabama and Saban was the best route to an NFL future. Booker was a 9th-ranked recruit in the Crimson Tide's 22 class. He graduated with a degree from Alabama. After 3 seasons in Tuscaloosa, Booker skipped his senior year and declared for the NFL draft. And then, the final interior guy, the number 1 center on the list. By the way, they have Jared Wilson here as a second-rounder, which is potentially somebody to talk about, but we're not going to. Gray Zabel, 6'6", 312, listed as an offensive center, 5th-year senior, 23 years old, NDSU. 3-year starter at North Dakota State, by the way, 93 pass blocking, 86 run blocking. Obviously, that's phenomenal. Also small school, so it's hard to know for sure. Small-ish, okay? Sorry, I know the NDSU people are going to freak out. It's a giant program. They're better than FBS. Yeah. But All-American left tackle and offensive coordinator Jake Landry's run-focused scheme primarily started at right tackle and both guard spots. He was part of an offensive line room that included Cordell Volson, 22 4th-round pick, and Cody Mock, 2023 second-rounder. Whether out in space or in confined areas, Zabel shines as a run blocker with athletic range and grip strength to connect, strain, and seal lanes. In pass protection, he can be walk back and surrender depth versus power, but he mirrors well and stays balanced through contact as he refits his hands to grind bull rushes to a halt. Overall, Zabel must prove he can consistently anchor against NFL power, but his light, flexible movements and strong hands keep pass rushers busy and displace defenders in the run game. A college tackle, he projects best inside at either center or guard, where he will compete for immediate starting reps and offer Pro Bowl upside. Versatile experience with college starts at both guard and both tackle positions. Also started at center in high school. Durable, finished career with 36 straight starts. Voted a 2024 team captain. Quarterback Cam Miller calls him one of the best leaders I've ever been around. North Dakota State coaches rave about his character, and NFL scouts said football, farming, and his family. Not sure he cares about much else. He has no college starts at center, although he played at a pivot during Senior Bowl practices. Penalized 15 times his past 2 seasons, including drive-killing personal foul in 2024 national title game. Only one of 40 career starts came against FBS competition, which was Colorado in 2024. Gray Zabel, second of 3 boys, grew up in Pierre in central South Dakota with his parents Mark and Tana. Mark coached his sons through youth sports and played defensive line at Division II Northern SD State. Tana was a 2-time team captain and all-conference player at Northern State women's basketball team. She finished a career with 1,192 points and 614 rebounds. She also ran track and was inducted into the Northern State Hall of Fame in 2006. Gray was a multi-sport athlete throughout childhood, including baseball, basketball, and soccer. He started playing tackle football in 3rd grade and often played with his brothers. His older brother Peyton was a standout quarterback and baseball pitcher at TF Riggs. He was drafted in the 19th round of the 2018 MLB draft by the Milwaukee Brewers. Peyton chose the college route instead of playing baseball and football in Augustana in 2019 before he was dismissed for an off-the-field incident. He then played at Iowa's Western Community College, Texas State. Gray's younger brother, Jet, was a 3-star tight end recruit with several FBS offers, Memphis, Pittsburgh, West Virginia, but chose to follow in his brother's footsteps and sign with NDSU. He is redshirted in 2024. Zabel attended TF Riggs High in Pierre, where he is a 3-sport letterman. Saw varsity reps in freshman 2016, became a starter on both offense and defensive lines, blocked for his older brother at quarterback, and helped lead Riggs to a 9-3 record in the 2017 state championship. Zabel earned all-state honors as a junior and helped the program to a 10-2 finish, including 2018 state championship. As a senior captain, he finished with 46 tackles, who cares. Zabel, who again earned all-state honors as a senior, played primarily center throughout high school. He was also all-conference performer in basketball and baseball at Riggs. A no-star recruit, Zabel wasn't ranked by recruiting services in the 2020 class. He took a visit to Iowa after his junior season, but the Hawkeyes didn't offer, and he struggled to get noticed by FBS programs. His first scholarship offer arrived in 2019 from North Dakota State, and within the next few days, both South Dakota and South Dakota State offered him. Despite growing up in South Dakota, Zabel had developed a relationship with North Dakota State coaches and officially committed in July of 2019 before his senior season. He took advantage of an extra year of eligibility granted by the NCAA because of COVID-19 pandemic in return for his 5th season. He received several 6-figure NIL offers to transfer up to the FBS level for his final season, but returned to Fargo. Zabel graduated with a degree in agribusiness and recently rented 250 acres near his family's farm to plant corn. Zabel accepted his invitation to the Senior Bowl and was voted the overall practice player of the week. Something tells me he got some offers. It's not like he played for free at NDSU. I don't know how you rent 250 acres as a broke college kid. All right, and then I think I'm just going to do one more, and that is tight end Colson Loveland. Only because, again, I think tight end is really unlikely. But if a guy like Colson Loveland is there, it kind of becomes a question, what if? What do you do if he's there at 23? Would they reach for Mason Taylor and Elijah Arroyo? I really don't think so. It might be worth looking at Malachi Starks and Nick Emanwari. We're not doing that today. And then, Jackson Dart is there's no way, but if that happened, we got a lot to talk about, you know what I mean? Going to be rethinking a lot of assumptions. All right, Colson Loveland out of Michigan, 6'5.5", 248 pounds. He's got pretty big old hands, long arms. He's got, he's 20.9, oh no, I'm sorry, wrong guy, 21.04 years old. All the other stuff was right, but looked at the wrong age. He had an 86 PFF grade, by the way, over 3 years at Michigan, and he played more snaps every year, but 57, 75, and then 86. His receiving went from 60 to 81 to 91. So pretty massive jumps over those 3 years. His drop percentage went from 11% to 10% to 3.4%. He has a 53 run blocking grade, which isn't great, but I think if you look at a lot of the tight ends and whatnot, you're not going to see phenomenal blocking. 3-year starter at Michigan, Loveland was a versatile tight end in head coach Sharon Moore's pro-style scheme, lining up in primarily the slot 47.6% of the time, and inline wing 32.5% of the time as a junior. From the moment he arrived at Ann Arbor, he was one of the most talented players on the roster, made an immediate impact his first 2 years, including as the Wolverines' leading receiver in the 23 national championship game. His final season was marred by injury and below-average quarterback play, but he still led the team in receiving in 9 of the 10 games he played and set Michigan records for the tight end position. With his speed and ball skills, Loveland can line up anywhere on the field and win as a quarterback-friendly, multi-level receiving threat. He isn't a liability as a one-pop, get-it-in-the-way blocker, but will struggle to sustain or control NFL edge rushers. Overall, Loveland doesn't have the skill set for full-time inline responsibilities, but his dynamic movements, natural hands, and football awareness should make him one of the primary targets in an NFL offense. His tools and upside are reminiscent of Zach Ertz. Penalized just once over the past 2 seasons, his coaches praise how much he puts into his craft. Michigan coach Sharon Moore said, "The guy just works. He works. He works. Reminds me of Blake Corum." Set Michigan's single-season record for catches by a tight end despite missing chunks of time. Struggles to avoid tacklers after the catch without runway. Just 12.5% of his 2024 catches resulted in 20 yards or more. Missed 3 games and parts of several other games because of right shoulder injury, AC joint surgery, which sidelined him for the draft process. On track to be cleared for training camp. Missed Ohio State's game because of a concussion. So he racks up quite a few injuries here. Colson Loveland, second of 3 boys, grew up in Gooding, a small, tight-knit community in southern Idaho, around 3,500 people. He was raised by his father, Chad, and mother, Rachel Faulkner, on the family farm and grew up tending to animals, building fences, and performing other chores. Loveland raised animals as part of the local 4-H program, competed in rodeo, and missed some school each spring to help brand calves for his uncle. He grew up dirt biking and playing sports, especially football. With his brother Caden, 3 older brothers, Loveland often played up levels in football and basketball because of both his desire to keep up with his brothers and his size and ability. In first grade, he saw minutes on the 5th grade basketball team. Jeez. Because of his size, Loveland started out as a lineman in youth football before moving skill positions. Caden played wide receiver at NAIA Carroll. Loveland also has a younger brother, Cash. Loveland attended Gooding High. After a few games on JV as a freshman, he moved up to varsity, where he played alongside his brother in 2018. He started out as a wide receiver in DB, catching 13 passes for 210 yards and 1 touchdown as a freshman. Loveland hit a growth spurt during his sophomore year and started his transition to tight end. He earned All-State honors as a sophomore, leading Gooding to the 2019 conference title. As a junior, Loveland recorded 69 receptions for 816 yards and 6 touchdowns. As a senior, he led Gooding to an undefeated regular season and caught 62 passes, 900 and some odd yards, blah, blah, blah. He also, a bunch of stats, blah, blah, blah. Loveland was named Gatorade Football Idaho Player of the Year and earned All-State All-Conference honors for the 3rd straight season. He set school records for catches in a season and a game. He was a standout basketball player at Gooding, too. He was named first-team All-State as a junior. He also lettered in track and placed 4th in the discus and 6th in the shot put. As a junior at the 2021 state championship, he ran the 100 meters in 12.54 seconds. 4-star recruit, Loveland was a 14th-ranked tight end in the 22 recruiting class, number 1 recruit in Idaho, the only Idaho recruit ranked in the top 750 of the 22 class. Toward the end of the sophomore season, he received his first scholarship offer from FCS Idaho State after dominating at the 7-on-7 camp in Seattle the summer before his junior year. Loveland started to hear from FBS programs and received offers from Arizona State, Nevada, Oregon State, Utah State. After Loveland's junior season, Alabama, Auburn, Boise State, Colorado, Michigan, UCLA all offered and made trips to Idaho. He felt at home during his visit to Ann Arbor and committed to Michigan head coach Jim Harbaugh the summer before his senior season. He was the 8th-ranked recruit, 1 spot behind Mason Graham in Harbaugh's 22 class. He earned all-academic, all-Big Ten honors in 24. After his junior season, Loveland elected to skip his senior year and enter the NFL draft. All right, that's it. It's everyone. That's all of them. There's nobody else. All right? Those are your options. Derg Flernit, McMillan, Walker, Will Johnson, Kelvin Banks, Jahdae Barron, Michael Williams, Shamar Stewart, Mike Green, Colson Loveland, Matthew Golden, Kenneth Grant, Josh Simmons, Walter Nolan, Gray Zabel, James Pierce, Tyler Booker, Derek Harmon, Donovan Ziraku, Mecca Ibuka, Luther Burden, Josh Connerly, Maxwell Hairston, Donovan Jackson, Savone Revel, Nick Scorton, Trey Amos, Tyleek Williams, Azaria Thomas, Ariante Ursuri, Benjamin Morrison, Darius Alexander, Jaden Higgins, Landon Jackson, JT Tuimalau. Princely Umanmielen, Jack Sawyer, Jonah Sava, Trey Harris, TJ Sanders, Alfred Collins, Jalen Noel, Alec Ayomanor. All right? If somebody else gets picked in the first round of the Green Bay Packers NFL draft in 2025, then I have spectacularly failed. I have done everything I can to not be surprised this year. I'm ready for it. I'm ready to just be shocked, okay? Shock me, stun me, floor me. Good luck. Good freaking luck this year, all right? I'm ready. I'm ready for you. You can't hurt me this year. That's a lie because I started getting attached to some people and really disliking others, but hopefully they can't surprise me this year. I don't want to sit here and go, "What? Who? What are you talking about? That wasn't one of the options. Jordan Morgan was not one of the options. We looked at that's not an option. It's not a thing. Quay what? It's not one of the guys. You can't just do that. Jordan Love, what are you talking about? I will say what's different this year. I know last year there was just a handful. Actually, no, it wasn't last year. 2 years ago, whatever. We kind of went through and it was like, you know who makes sense, right? And Lucas Van Ness was right at the top of that list. I think he was like number 2 on my list. And I don't remember who number 1 was, but it's kind of I don't really know about that. You kind of just knew what was going to happen, and that sucked a little bit. I don't have the slightest freaking idea what is about to happen. Nothing. No idea. And leave it to the Packers to be probably the most tight-lipped organization in all of football. 0 notes, 0 insights, nothing going on. They go freaking dormant, man. The Packers go into some kind of a bunker like the White House has, where no communications can get in or out. Everything gets sent through the mail, and it's like a prison where they check it and they try to decode everything, I need to speak with the Baron, Mr. Ian Rappaport, you know what I mean? Baron von Bergstein or whatever the hell, Baron in Texas around the corner. Nice freaking try. Decoded it and you're fired. But what do we got, like 2 days? That's not possible. 2 days? That's not a thing, dude. Crazy. I want you all to be aware that, so the plan, obviously my family and I are planning to go to the draft on day 1. I'd like to be home by the start of the actual draft. Whether or not I'm going to do a live stream on YouTube, I just don't know. I want to not do it this year, but there's also a part of me that's just like, I love doing it. So I don't know. But the one thing that I would like to do, that I want you all to be aware of, if you want to kind of hang out, do the thing, all that stuff, head over to patreon.substack.com. Pretty sure you can sign up for free, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's a thing. I have the ability to do chats over there. So at the very least, I'm going to have a live chat where we can hang out, we can discuss things, we can talk about this, that, or the other. I will try to open that and leave it open. I don't know if I can do a non-paid thing or whatever, but I will, like YouTube is obviously not paywalled, so be on the lookout for that. Go over to packernet.substack.com, sign up for a free account just so you get, hopefully, I was having a hard time last time, like actually sending out, hey, there's a thing going on over here. But I will try to remind everybody that that's the plan, all right? Also, as further encouragement to get you over to the Substack, this will probably be paid, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to, right now, once we're done, because there is no Packing After Dark, still just the 2 calls, going to head over to my transcriptions, because I transcribe all my episodes, take down all the stuff that I said about these guys, turn them into like sort of scouting reports or whatever. It's going to be notes for me, but also it'll be available for you. There will also be, little bullet points for what the Beast Guide said and all that kind of stuff. So if you want essentially notes on what we've talked about these past week, that's where it's going to be. All right? All right. You all have a good rest of your day. I will talk to you tomorrow. Have a good one. Bye-bye.